How to be a villain.
Lei Xin pulled a stump of wood and said to Chuxiu, "Have a seat here." Lei Yuan said, "Young friend, this old man is named Lei Yuan, the current patriarch of the Thunder God clan. I wonder, young friend, if you would allow me to take a look at the Desolate God token." Chuxiu sat down and tossed the token to Lei Yuan. Lei Yuan was shocked and caught the token. He muttered to himself, "It really is a genuine Desolate God token." Lei Yuan returned the token and said, "Young friend, please keep it safe." He then puffed on his pipe and said, "You must be very curious as to why we are so excited to see you, right?" Chuxiu thought to himself, could it be that, like on Desolate God Island, someone has also arranged a fortuitous opportunity for me here? If that is true, then that would be wonderful. A free opportunity is not to be missed. Lei Yuan said, "Young friend Chuxiu, before you entered Thunder God Village, you must have seen that black great peak in the very center of the Thunder Marsh, correct?" Chuxiu asked, "Could that great peak be related to me? Or perhaps to Desolate God Island?" Lei Yuan said, "Actually, the ancestral land of the Thunder God clan was not originally here. This place was not a Thunder Marsh either, but a blessed land brimming with life, a land of the dragon vein. 100,000 years ago, just like now, it was during a period when the ancient Taiji star was open. Many cultivators from the Sky Dome continent arrived at the ancient Taiji star, seeking fortuitous opportunities." As Lei Xin handed a cup to Lei Yuan, he continued, "The natives of the ancient Taiji star, though dissatisfied, did not resist much. After all, in a few years, when the ancient Taiji star opened again, these people would return to wherever they came from. However, what they did not expect was that this time, those who arrived at the ancient star were not only cultivators from the Sky Dome continent, but also a strange race from the depths of the universe. They were two humanoid creatures, incredibly powerful, at least quasi-emperors." Chuxiu asked in surprise, "Quasi-emperors? They could actually bypass the heaven and earth restriction and enter the ancient Taiji star?" Lei Yuan said, "They were indeed quasi-emperors. It is just unknown why they were able to come here." Chuxiu said, "According to what you have said, those two are related to the black giant peak in the center of the Thunder Marsh?" Lei Yuan said, "They are sealed at the summit of the giant peak." Chuxiu asked, "Why were they sealed here?" He thought to himself, "I never would have thought that the ancient Taiji star actually had quasi-emperors sealed away, and two of them at that." Lei Yuan said, "It is a long story. These two quasi-emperors from the depths of the universe, after arriving at the ancient star, unleashed a monstrous slaughter. They killed all the cultivators from the Sky Dome continent, and they did not even spare the natives of the ancient Taiji star." Chuxiu asked, "Did no one resist? What about the Dragon God?" Lei Yuan said, "The Dragon God was still in its gestation period at that time and could not intervene." Chuxiu thought to himself, "That is right. The Dragon God was still an egg back then." At that moment, the Dragon God Longqi sneezed while reading her book and said, "Ah, Chu." Chuxiu asked, "Without the Dragon God's help, how did you resist them?" Two quasi-emperors did not completely wipe out the ancient Taiji star. Instead, they were sealed. Lei Xin explained. "The patriarch of our Thunder God clan from that generation took action. He heard that outsiders were slaughtering the living beings of this star, so he came out of seclusion and fought one against two. However, although the Thunder God clan's patriarch at that time possessed extraordinary combat power, the two quasi-emperors were very strange. No matter how the patriarch attacked, or what powerful divine abilities he used, he could not kill them. It was as if they could not die." Chuxiu thought to himself, "Immortal and indestructible? Could it be?" Lei Xin said, "Facing opponents who could not be killed, even someone as strong as the patriarch would eventually be worn down to exhaustion and death." Just at that critical moment, a woman carrying an ice crystal longsword on her back, dressed in a plain-colored, long dress, used a supremely powerful method to forcefully tear open the heaven and earth blockade of the ancient Taiji star. Chuxiu asked, "Who is she, to be able to forcefully tear open the ancient Taiji star's heaven and earth blockade?" Lei Xin said, "It is Grand Empress Taisu." The Thunder God clan's patriarch of that time joined forces with her, using his own Dao charm to charge the seal, and finally managed to completely seal those two quasi-emperors. This is the origin of the Thunder Swampland outside, and also the reason for the formation of that black giant peak. Our Thunder God clan, in order to conveniently guard the seal, made this place our ancestral land and have lived here for generations." Chuxiu said, "The story is fascinating, but what does this have to do with me?" Lei Yuan said seriously, "Because 100,000 years ago, Grand Empress Taisu once said that 100,000 years later, the new master of Desolate God Island would be able to completely resolve these two hidden dangers." Chuxiu was shocked and confused. Chuxu said, "Stop joking. How could Grand Empress Taisu possibly know me?" Lei Yuan said, "I do not know either. In any case, that is what the ancient records say. That is what Grand Empress Taisu said before she left the ancient Taiji Star. Oh, right. Before she left, she also casually mentioned something. She asked our Thunder God clan patriarch to ask on her behalf if the new master of Desolate God Island had obtained the skull pendant. If you did, remember to keep it safe. Otherwise..." Chuxu began to sweat and said, "Otherwise what?" And he thought to himself, "How did Grand Empress Taisu know I got the skull pendant? She knows far too much, does she not?" Lei Yuan said, "Otherwise." Chuxu sweated even more and thought, "Otherwise." Lei Yuan puffed his smoke and said, "Grand Empress Taisu said, if you do not take good care of the pendant the next time we meet, not only will I spank your backside, but I will do it 100 times until you cannot even hold onto the wall." Lei Xin blushed and puffed smoke like a teapot. Chuxu was confused, his face heating up. Suddenly, a shock like thunder shot through his spine as he thought, "Holy goodness. Grand Empress Taisu is actually a pervert? But, have I met her before? Listening to her tone, why does it feel like we are very familiar? Did I transmigrate? How is this possible?" Lei Yuan said, "Young friend, recently the seal has become increasingly abnormal. I suspect those two quasi-emperors might have escaped." Lei Xin said, "If they do, the ancient Taiji Star will inevitably face another bloodbath." Lei Yuan stood up and said, "Please, young friend, for Grand Empress Taisu's sake, take action to save the countless lives on the ancient Taiji Star." Chuxu said, "This matter is dangerous, and I do not wish to be dragged into this mess." Lei Yuan said, "Young friend," Chuxu interrupted, "I am going to the sealed land, where I will have to face two quasi-emperors head-on. You are well aware of the dangers involved. I should not need to say more." Lei Yuan said, Chuxu continued, "However, taking a risk, well, that is not out of the question, as long as you are willing to give me the Dao source." Lei Yuan said, "Dao source? Young friend, the information you received is false. There is no Dao source here whatsoever." Chuxu said, "What do you mean?" Lei Xin said, "Back then, Grand Empress Taisu said you would come here for the Dao source. So, before she came to Taiji Star, she placed a jade slip detailing the Dao source's location in an old tortoise's self-sealed land." Chuxu said, "Ah, this," and he thought to himself, "That old tortoise. Could it be Tian Yunzi?" Chuxu turned to leave, saying, "I live by one principle. I never do anything that does not benefit me. Farewell." Lei Yuan said, "Young friend, wait. Although there is no Dao source here, I know where one is. As long as you are willing to help, young friend, I will tell you where that place is. I, Lei Zhou, swear by the heavenly Dao. This information is completely accurate." Chuxu glanced back silently. Then he walked back and said, "Aya, old gentleman, you really... How can you make a heavenly Dao oath so casually? Look, you are making me feel quite embarrassed. Come, let us continue our discussion. Can you confirm that those two quasi-emperors have not broken free from the seal yet?" Lei Xin said, "They have not broken free from the seal yet." Lei Yuan took out a treasure. Chuxu asked, "This is?" Lei Yuan said, "This is a treasure Grand Empress Taisu specially left behind back then, so my Thunder God clan could more easily monitor the state of the Great Array. If the quasi-emperors break free from the seal, this sphere will immediately shatter. Now it is covered in cracks, which means they are about to break free. According to my calculations, they will be completely free in 2 years at most. When that happens, whether it is the ancient Taiji Star or the Sky Dome continent, both will face catastrophe." Chuxu said, "You two, tell me more about the other details." Lei Yuan said, "All right." 45 minutes later, Lei Yuan stood up and said, "Young friend Chuxu, next, we will be relying on you. When you return, I will tell you the location of the Dao source." Chuxu thought to himself, "I never thought that I, old demon Chu, who has done nothing but evil all my life, would one day become a world-saving hero. This truly is ironic. Forget it. For the benefits involved, I will go take a look." As a rift opened, Lei Yuan said, "Young friend, this might help you at a critical moment." Chuxu replied, "All right." With that, Chuxu stepped into the rift. Lei Xin then asked, "Grandfather, do you think he can succeed?" Lei Yuan sighed. "I do not know either, but since this is Grand Empress Taisu's arrangement, he should be able to succeed, right? No matter what, everything depends on young friend Chuxu now." A few moments later, Chuxu murmured to himself, "What exactly is this thing? Why did Grand Empress Taisu tell me to keep it safe?" He shook his head and summoned. Miao Shaoxi appeared, saying with a soft meow, She hugged Chushu's arm, pressing her large, soft chest against him, and exclaimed, "Finally out!" Chushu asked, "What did Longqi say?" Miao Xiaoqi replied, "She said she will keep an eye on this place. If anything unusual happens, she will take action, meow." Chushu patted Miao Xiaoqi and said, Overjoyed, Miao Xiaoqi gave another happy meow. Chushu then playfully slapped her behind and said, "Come, let us go to the mountaintop and take a look." Miao Xiaoqi savored the playful swat and followed him. A few moments later, they reached the mountain peak. Chushu looked out at the vast scene before them. It is hard to imagine how incredibly powerful that figure from the Thunder God clan was back then. After their Dao transformation, to think they could create such a terrifying thunder-forbidden zone. Miao Xiaoqi suddenly spotted something in the distance and pointed. "Miao, look, what is that?" They both saw a statue. Chushu approached it, muttering, "This is..." Miao Xiaoqi, looking puzzled, reached out to touch it. "Miao?" Chushu grasped the statue. In an instant, the ground around them became lush with grass and vegetation. Both were taken aback. Miao Xiaoqi's eyes sparkled in amazement. "Meow, so beautiful." Before their eyes, the barren landscape had transformed into an entirely different place. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to help me grow my channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going and get those analytics buzzing. Until next time, take care.